All right, we're live. I think we're live everywhere, but who knows? Sometimes
Hopefully.
technology is a little, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But my name is Mary Lenov. I'm here with Shama Aram, and we're going to be talking about what are some of the challenges that people face when they're planning to get a visa in the visa planning process. So there's a lot of complex components of this process, and that's what we're here for to talk a little bit about what are some of those things that you can do to make sure that you don't walk the wrong way, kind of say. So, hi, Shema, nice to see you. Do you want to say
Nice
a
to
few
see you
words
too.
before we get started?
Yeah, uh, we picked this particular topic because it's a very important one where we have met a lot of people that were excited about the idea of moving or investing in the US, but then as soon as they start the process, they realize that it's a lot more challenging than they thought, for example, or there were a lot of elements that they did not really think about before because they just looked at at the process from a procedural point of view, without really adding that personal experience to it. So I really think it's a very important thing to consider, and these are elements that are pertaining more to you and to your situation more than anything. So yeah.
Yeah. Shema, make sure that you speak close to the microphone because your voice is a little low. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
All right, so let's get started. I think a lot of people don't know that, you first got to know the location where
Mm,
you're going to invest or live.
yeah.
And you can do that by really just visiting the area. A lot of our clients are Canadians. So just take a trip, do something fun in the area, see if you even like it, because a lot of times it can be overwhelming to have to think of a place. But what if you've never been there before? What if you haven't even considered living in that area? So I
Yeah.
would say that would be the number one thing to first think about the location, and you don't have to know specifically where, but kind of take a trip. If you're thinking South Florida, go to South Florida, take a look at some of the areas there. If you're thinking Southwest Florida, which by the way, we are thinking and praying for our neighboring friends due to Hurricane Ian. South Florida wasn't hit really, really strongly, but we do have clients and people and friends and partners in the Southwest Florida, and we're praying for you guys. That's the downside of living in Florida, but it's definitely one of those things that we take into account, right? When when living here. But
Yeah.
yeah, just going back to the location, there are a lot of things that you can do to make sure that you pick the right location, and that's why that would be the number one. Sometimes people don't even know where to start, so that's where you would really
Yeah.
want to start.
Yeah, indeed. And because you have to think of it as the place that you will potentially live in addition to the fact that you will be investing in it. So it should be, as Mary said, a place that you like, obviously, that your kids maybe will potentially like as well. And it should also, you need to take into consideration as well the industries that are more active in there, the businesses that are working, that are more lucrative, the real estate situation as well. So all of these things, they weigh in on your decision, and they're things that you can observe with, as Mary said, either visiting or you can just do some research online, just to see how the economy is and what the prices are and all of that. And of course, um, the decision would be best if you maybe at least think about it before you start actively the process, because it might take you a little bit of time. So, as Mary said, it's not really about knowing the exact city, but at least having like two, three options that you are really passionate about, that then you can observe and potentially look into with the team.
Yeah, definitely. So the second thing I would say, a lot of things that we do is investing in businesses, investing in different, whether it's a franchise or real estate or an existing business, right? So a lot of times people don't know that even though you have experience with other things, it doesn't. You don't need to. You don't really need to have experience with specifically the business that you are looking for. It can be something that you know about, hands-on experience that you've potentially have done before, but it can also be experience that can correlate to this new investment that you're purchasing. So a lot of times people say, "Oh, I don't know anything about this specific skill," right? But the experience that you have from before complements this skill. So I think finding that and having maybe like a list of things that you know how to do, and understanding that this is a great opportunity for you and that you can do a lot of different things within the same realm, I think that really is going to help. And a lot of times people just don't know what they would want to invest in. If it's an existing business or franchise, it doesn't matter. So I think it's important to know that in the planning process what you're going to get into. Shoma, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, so for example, for our case, the Investing Across Borders team, what we do is we usually do an assessment to the clients. That way we can understand their fortes a lot more and what they're more passionate about, what kind of management style do they have, etc., because it all impacts that decision on where you're going to be investing. And as Miriam said, it's really important to know a little bit what you're really good at, as well as the industries that you like, because usually people come from specific industries after working in them for years and then they want to stay in those, and that's a really good idea because it's uh, an environment that you usually know more than others, and it's not really going to be very challenging as opposed to going for something completely new. And you will also know what to expect, and you will be a lot more successful in your endeavor, in your investment in general. So yeah, it is also a
Yeah,
second.
definitely.
It's the second most important thing, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Something super important. And then let's go into, a lot of people don't know how to come up with the budget, right? And it's hard to say, okay, I have this amount allocated for the properties or the investment or the legal fees or the services, whatever it is. So it's gonna really help. It's gonna really help when you kind of come up with a budget to know what it is that you're going to spend and where you're going to spend it. If you don't know where to get money from, you can start to save a little bit here and there, take some of the properties that you have and maybe sell some of them, or any assets that you have, and liquidate some of that. So it really is going to depend on your situation, obviously, but a lot of times we don't realize that we have options. Like, for example, with Canadians, last week we did a live with RRSP funds and how you can use that to buy investments in the US or anywhere in the world, really. So you might have more options than you think, and it's just a matter of seeing what are some of the budget, what are some of the financing options, and coming up with a plan. And I think that a lot of people don't even think about this when they're in the process of investing. They just think that they're gonna come up and show up, and everything is gonna fall into place. But it's gonna definitely help if you budget and if you know where the funds are coming from even before you start the process. Shima, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, you said it all. Like the idea is to do research. It's to research all of your potential sources of funding, and then make an estimated budget based on all of those. So a lot of our clients do usually go through the selling their own, especially if people want to build a new life in the US, for example, they usually just sell their homes in Canada and then maybe take some of their stuff and then the rest would also be sold, and they would use that as their funds for investing in the US.
Yeah,
It is not.
definitely.
A lot of people think that it's insanely expensive. I want to say to that it's in the middle. It's not cheap, and it's not something that is necessarily crazily expensive. It depends. There are a
Yeah.
lot of options, and it depends on the second thing that we talked about, which is the industry and all of that, because there are industries that are pricier than others. So it helps to budget depending on what you want,
Yeah.
um, so that you make sure that you have the necessary funds to be successful in your project.
Yeah, definitely. So the last one that we're gonna go over, we kind of talked a little bit about the industry already, so we'll skip that one. But it's it's really about the tax implications, and you need to know. where you're coming from. If you're coming from Canada or anywhere in the world, you really need to know and speak to a cross-border tax advisor who knows the laws about your home country and the country where you're investing, in this case, the United States. And a lot of people don't think about that, but it's very important because you might be paying double taxation. You might run into other legal problems. So when it comes to that, just make sure that, and that's something that a lot of our clients do as soon as we pick the business, we really need to make sure that we're covered. So that's something that you want to definitely think in advance as to what are some of the things that you can do. Shima, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, so we had in the past a few clients who would come mid-process, and a lot of them would have issues like this. And the reason is that sometimes a lot of people would just go to an immigration lawyer, or an entity that only handles the immigration section. So what they're left with is the rest of the things they're going to be handling on their own. So what happens is that people fall into traps, and in these traps they lose time and money. So it's very important to find, and it's something that we do share in the E2 infographic that we usually
Mhm.
share. It's very, very important, and it is one of the first steps to find and hire the complete and right team. And it's
Yeah,
something that we do. We handle everything from start to finish, including the gaps in which you might lose time and money, because we obviously don't want that to happen to you. And a lot of people, with just a little bit of research online, think that sometimes they're safe and they're not going to make those mistakes, etc. But it's not a guarantee. So,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. This has been great because these are things that people don't think about even before starting the process. But I know that one of our team members already put the consultation link. We are doing actually free consults right now. So it's with our team. So if you have any questions or you need advice, just schedule a call. We'll be happy to talk to you. If we can help you, great. And if we can't, we'll try to help you, direct you to the right people, or we'll just let you know that, that we cannot help you. So we'll be very honest, but we'll be back next week. We have another guest, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining us again. My name is Miri Lenov, and stay tuned for next week. We'll be back with more information so that you can invest, live, work, or play across borders. Bye bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.